Friedrich Nietzsche, philosopher, rebel, and the man who shattered society's illusions. But his most explosive ideas? They're about women, and they're not what you think. For centuries, women were either worshipped as saints or burned as witches. But Nietzsche asked, what if both are lies? What if society's obsession with femininity is just a game? Think about it. Today, women are told to have it all, yet judged for every choice. Nietzsche saw this hypocrisy 150 years ago. His question, who benefits from these illusions? He famously made shocking statements about women. Harsh? Absolutely. But was he attacking women, or the myths we force them to live up to? Let's dig deeper. Nietzsche didn't hate women. He hated dishonesty. He claimed femininity isn't natural. It's a role society scripts, and both men and women play their parts blindly. Consider this. If women are nurturing, why must they be taught to care? If men are strong, why do they break under pressure? Nietzsche called these roles theater, not truth. Modern culture preaches equality, yet obsesses over male loneliness and female hypergamy. Nietzsche predicted this tension. His warning? Until we face reality, the war continues. So why does Nietzsche's take on women still trigger outrage? Because it forces a painful question. Are we free, or just better actors in the same old play? Critics call him a misogynist, but Nietzsche mocked men just as fiercely. His real target? The cowardice of clinging to comfortable lies about gender, power, and human nature. Ever notice how female empowerment today often means becoming more like men? Nietzsche saw this coming. His challenge: power isn't imitation, it's destroying the script entirely. From tradwives to girl bosses, we still box women into extremes. Nietzsche's response? Stop performing. Start questioning. Because true freedom begins when the act collapses. Even feminism wrestles with his ideas. Can equality exist without acknowledging differences? Nietzsche's answer was radical. Truth demands courage, not comfort. So where does this leave us? With a choice: keep pretending, or confront the uncomfortable truths Nietzsche exposed. The irony? Only then can real change begin. His words sting because they're timeless. Gender roles evolve, but the game remains. The question is, will you keep playing or tear off the mask? This isn't about men versus women. It's about power versus honesty. And Nietzsche's challenge still stands. Who are you when no one's watching? Ready to go deeper? In the next part, we'll dissect Nietzsche's most explosive quotes and why they're still weaponized today. Don't look away. Nietzsche's most dangerous idea? Love isn't noble, it's a negotiation. He wrote, everything about woman has one solution: pregnancy. But was this biology or a warning? Modern dating proves his point. Swipe-right culture turned romance into a marketplace. Women trade youth for security, men trade resources for beauty. Nietzsche called this 150 years ago. Marriage. Nietzsche called it a long conversation where both parties eventually run out of scripts. The brutal truth? Most couples aren't in love, they're in mutual performance reviews. Think about wedding vows. Forever, in a world that changes daily? Nietzsche laughed. It's not the lack of love, but the lack of friendship that makes unhappy marriages. Children change everything. Nietzsche saw kids as society's anchors, the weight that keeps women from flying. Harsh? Maybe. But does the mommy track still limit careers today? Here's the uncomfortable question. If women weren't expected to be primary caregivers, would motherhood rates drop? Nietzsche believed all choices come with hidden price tags. Now to male sexuality. Nietzsche wrote, the male is a sick animal, obsessed with conquest. From OnlyFans to porn, modern men pay for what they once took: progress or new slavery. Modern relationships are Nietzsche's laboratory. Ghosting? Fear of being known. Situationships? Fear of commitment. His diagnosis? We've replaced chains with Velcro. Still stuck, just quieter. Social media became Nietzsche's nightmare. Instagram isn't a gallery, it's a mating display. LinkedIn isn't networking, it's dominance signaling. Every post screams, "Notice my value." Celebrity culture proves Nietzsche right. Famous women age out at 40, while silver foxes get sexier. His observation: women grow old sooner than men because they stop being desired. Now the hardest truth. Nietzsche claimed women secretly admire their oppressors. Look at romance novels. Billionaire kidnappers, mafia lovers. Why do fantasies reward toxic masculinity? Feminism's paradox? We reject male dominance, then sell submit to your man courses. Nietzsche's insight? Power is addictive, even when we dress it in empowerment slogans. The real conspiracy? Neither gender wins. Men drown in performance anxiety. Women suffocate in expectations. Nietzsche's verdict? All actors, no audience. His solution was radical. Stop performing. Let relationships break. Society will scream, but only broken systems birth new ones. Dangerous? Yes. Necessary? Absolutely. Nietzsche's final warning: beware those who moralize about love. Today's relationship gurus, red pill coaches, and feminist manifestos, all selling different versions of the same cage. In our finale, we'll expose Nietzsche's ultimate truth about power and why your deepest desires might not even be yours. The answer will terrify you. Nietzsche saw modern therapy as a bandage on a bullet wound. To heal is to bury pain alive, he wrote. Real strength? Loving your demons, not outsourcing them to gurus. The wellness industry sells enlightenment like drive-through burgers. Nietzsche called it spiritual obesity. True growth? Chaos that births dancing stars. No app can shortcut that. Left versus right? Nietzsche would laugh. Two sides of the same hollow idol. His solution? Create your own values, even if the herd brands you a monster. Cancel culture is peer pressure with a halo. Nietzsche's antidote? Stand alone when the mob sings. The silence will terrify you. That's where truth grows. A productivity cult worships clocks they built to fear time. Nietzsche's alternative? Become who you are, not what your LinkedIn metrics demand. Modern education stamps out obedient ghosts. Nietzsche's challenge? Set yourself on fire. No degree certifies that kind of transformation. Hustle culture is poverty of the soul in a Gucci belt. Nietzsche prescribed wasting time gloriously. Try that with your productivity guilt. Man fears nature. Nietzsche would howl at the irony. You are nature. Stop apologizing for existing. Plant gardens in the world's cracks. Social justice movements. Nietzsche foresaw them. The slave revolt of morals never ends. Today's oppressed become tomorrow's tyrants. The wheel keeps turning. Victimhood as identity? The religion of the weak, Nietzsche called it. Real power? Forging art from suffering, not trading it for sympathy points. Modern masculinity crises? Lions led by donkeys fear their own claws, Nietzsche laughed. The fix? Become ancestors, not followers. Third wave feminism? Old cages repainted. Nietzsche's warning: dance on the graves of all identities, even the ones you built yourself. AI won't save us. Nietzsche knew. The Ubermensch isn't a cyborg. It's whoever embraces their chaotic humanity. Stop waiting for the update. The metaverse? Another cave for those who fear the sun? Nietzsche's challenge: plant real gardens. Glitches grow the best flowers. Loneliness blooms when we trade tribes for algorithms. Nietzsche's cure? Build bridges so magnificent, others can't resist crossing. Modern love is a vending machine. Insert kindness coins, expect passion to drop. Nietzsche warned, you call this reciprocity? No, this is mutual exploitation with poetry. Ghosting, breadcrumbing, orbiting. Nietzsche would smirk, the coward's way to play God. If you must destroy, look them in the eye and name your reasons. Self-care culture sold us narcissism as salvation. Nietzsche's cure? Care for something beyond yourself, a cause that terrifies you with its bigness. Corporate activism? Morality is marketing, Nietzsche spat. When brands rainbow their logos, ask, where were these colors in the boardroom last quarter? Feminism now demands equality and oppression. Nietzsche saw it coming. They've traded chains for handcuffs and called it progress. The male loneliness epidemic. Nietzsche's diagnosis. You stopped building towers and started digging graves. No wonder women won't join you underground. Toxic positivity is the new opium of the masses. Nietzsche prescribed, suffer magnificently. Let your pain become a lighthouse, not a white flag. Modern philosophers are influencers with better vocabularies. Nietzsche's standard? A thinker who risks their sanity for truth, not their brand deals. Minimalism, clean eating, dopamine fasts. Nietzsche laughed, starvation dressed as virtue. Feast, then burn the excess in your creative fire. AI relationships? The ultimate humiliation, Nietzsche would say. Use outsourced love to machines because real intimacy demands too much courage. Trauma as identity is a prison you decorate. Nietzsche's key? Your past is clay, not a life sentence. Sculpt it or suffocate. Body positivity became body tyranny. Nietzsche's take? Love your vessel, but never kneel to it. The body is a bridge, not a shrine. Cancel culture's irony? You exile monsters while nurturing the sickness that creates them, Nietzsche observed. Hate the game, not the players. Modern gurus sell life hacks for existence. Nietzsche scoffed. Shortcuts to mediocrity. The worthy path is always through the storm. Climate anxiety is nature's revenge for our arrogance. Nietzsche's fix? Stop saving the earth. Relearn how to be part of it. Nietzsche's final rebellion? Live dangerously. Build your city on Vesuvius. Let them call you mad. The future belongs to the unreasonable.
Your life is a countdown clock. At 80 years, you get 4,000 weeks. Today, that clock ticks. You'll waste 12 years on screens and 5 in lines. Time is the one resource you can't earn back. 89% of people on their deathbeds regret time wasted. Not money lost, not failures, just I could have. Every minute spent poorly is stolen from your future self. That's the real cost. Nietzsche's eternal recurrence. If you relived this moment forever, would you scream? Most routines aren't worth repeating. Redesign your days to make even small moments worthy of eternity. Use the deathbed test. If this were my last week, would I do it? If not, cut it. Steve Jobs used this filter. What survives is your true priority. The rest is noise. You have the same 1,440 minutes as Einstein. The difference? He treated minutes like diamonds. Track your time for 3 days. You'll find 31% wasted on autopilot. Awareness sparks change. Your brain tricks you into overvaluing now. Fight it with the 10-10-10 rule. How will you feel about this time spent in 10 months? The gap reveals the truth. Nietzsche wrote, "The future influences the present." Picture your 80-year-old self watching you. Would they nod or shake their head? That image is your best time management tool. Document every activity today. No cheating. You'll spot time vampires, tasks that suck hours but add zero value. The average person wastes 4 hours daily. Just noticing changes everything. Busyness is laziness. It's avoiding hard choices. Saying yes to everything means excelling at nothing. Fewer priorities equals more power per priority. Start cutting. Nietzsche warned, you must become chaos to birth a dancing star. Chaos means ruthless focus. Delete 2 time wasters today. Feel the space it creates. That's where life begins. Legacy isn't what you say, it's what you do daily. The compound effect means small, consistent actions create massive results, or massive regrets. Choose now. Your phone isn't a tool. It's a slot machine stealing your attention. The jackpot, your life. Turn off notifications, reclaim focus. Your future self will thank you. Time poverty is a myth. You have enough hours for what matters. The problem? You're allocating them to things that don't. Redistribute like your life depends on it. Nietzsche's will to power means growth requires struggle. Comfort kills time mastery. Add one uncomfortable task today. Discomfort is the tax on a meaningful life. Your last 5 years will flash by, but today feels slow. Use that illusion. Invest time like a billionaire invests dollars, with ruthless intent. No excuses. Tick-tock, the clock won't stop, but now you can't unsee the truth. The next move is yours. Will you waste or wield your 4,000 weeks? Failure isn't your enemy, it's your teacher. Every expert was once a beginner. Every master started as a mess. The difference? They kept failing forward while others quit. Your brain is wired to fear failure. But neuroscience proves this. Myelin, the skill coding in your brain, only grows through repetition and mistakes. No failure equals no growth. Nietzsche said, "You must become chaos to give birth to a dancing star." Chaos means trial and error. No great thing was ever created without broken steps first. The 30% rule. If you're not failing 30% of the time, you're playing too safe. High performers aim to fail often, but fail smart. Each misstep is data, not defeat. Thomas Edison failed 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb, but he reframed it. I found 1,000 ways that don't work. Your failures are just discoveries in disguise. Two types of failure matter: stupid mistakes, avoidable, and smart failures, necessary. Stupid failures come from laziness. Smart failures come from bold experiments. Guess which one builds greatness? Nietzsche warned, "The snake that cannot shed its skin perishes." You must outgrow old versions of yourself. That requires failing, learning, and evolving again and again. Keep a failure log. Write down every screw-up and the lesson it taught. Within months, you'll see your worst mistakes were your best teachers. Social media lies. It shows everyone's highlights, not their struggles. Mozart wrote garbage, Einstein failed math. You're comparing your behind the S to their highlight reel. Stop it. Nietzsche's amor fati means love your fate. Embrace failures as part of your journey. The obstacle isn't the enemy, it's the way forward. Fear of failure is fear of judgment. But here's the truth. Nobody cares. People forget your mistakes faster than you do, so take the shot. Children learn to walk by falling. Adults forget this. We expect perfection on the first try. Relearn this. Falling isn't failing. It's the only way to move forward. Winston Churchill said, "Success is stumbling from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm." The difference between winners and losers? Persistence, not perfection. Nietzsche's eternal recurrence asks, would you relive this failure forever? If it leads to growth, the answer is yes. Reframe pain as progress. Your next failure is coming. Will you hide from it or hunt it? The fastest way to succeed is to double your failure rate. Ready, fire, aim. Remember, no failure is final. The only true failure, giving up. Now go fall, learn, and rise stronger. The world belongs to the resilient.
Tick-tock. That's your life slipping away. The average person wastes 4 hours daily, 65 days per year. You'll never get those hours back. Time isn't money, it's your existence, and you're overspending. Studies show 89% of people on their deathbeds regret time mismanagement. Not failure, not rejection, just I wasted it. Your future self is screaming at you right now. Are you listening? Nietzsche warned, the future influences the present more than the past. Picture your 80-year-old self watching you scroll mindlessly. Would they nod or shake their head? That's your answer. Here's the fix. Track every hour for 3 days. Write it down. No cheating. You'll vomit at the results, then change. Awareness is the first step to revolution. Failure isn't your enemy, it's your teacher. Every expert was once a beginner. Every master was a mess first. Myelin, your brain's skill coding, grows only through mistakes. Fall forward. Thomas Edison failed 1,000 times before the light bulb. His secret? I found 1,000 ways that don't work. Your failures are just discoveries wearing disguises. Keep going. Nietzsche said, "You must become chaos to birth a dancing star." Chaos means trying, failing, and trying again. No great thing is ever created without broken steps first. Start a failure log. Document every screw-up and its lesson. Within months you'll see, your worst mistakes were your best teachers. The only true failure? Quitting. 72% of people feel fake daily. Why? They trade authenticity for approval. But here's the truth. No one remembers your awkward moments. They're too busy worrying about their own. Van Gogh was too emotional. Einstein was too distracted. Your quirks aren't flaws. They're fingerprints of genius. Society mocks what it doesn't understand, then copies it later. Nietzsche declared the individual must struggle against the tribe. Conformity is comfortable, but greatness demands you stand alone. Your weirdness is your weapon. Wield it. Try this today. Speak one unfiltered truth. Feel the panic, then the power. Most rules are imaginary prisons with open doors. Walk out. 40% of life's outcomes are uncontrollable. Stress comes from lying to yourself about certainty. The fix? Focus on your 30%. Preparation. The rest? Let go. Nietzsche's amor fati, love your fate, not passive acceptance, active embrace. The obstacle isn't your enemy, it's your training ground. Surrender the illusion of control. Write a surrender list. 3 things you can't control but obsess over. Burn it. Watch your anxiety melt. Freedom lives in radical acceptance. You're the average of your 5 closest people. Energy is contagious. Audit your circle. Radiators lift you. Drains suck you dry. Life's too short for vampires. Perspective is everything. The same event that destroys one person launches another. Viktor Frankl found meaning in Auschwitz. Your worst obstacle might be your greatest teacher. The choice is yours. Start a meaning reframe journal. For every challenge, write, "This is happening for me to learn." Watch problems transform into lessons. Pain plus meaning equals growth. Nietzsche said, "He who has a why can bear almost any how." Your suffering isn't the enemy. Meaninglessness is. Find your why, and you'll survive anyhow. Self-care isn't selfish, it's strategic. You can't pour from an empty cup. The most productive people prioritize rest. Your best work comes from a full tank, not burnout. Create 3 non-negotiables: sleep, solitude, movement. Guard them like your life depends on it, because it does. Everything improves when you put your oxygen mask on first. Nietzsche warned, "All great thoughts are conceived while walking." Your brain solves problems when resting. Schedule idleness like you schedule meetings. Your best ideas will come. Comfort is the enemy of growth. Your brain rewards stagnation. Seek 5% discomfort daily. Cold showers, difficult conversations, new skills. Growth lives just beyond your comfort edge. Use the hell yes or no rule. If it's not a hell yes, it's a no. Most maybes are slow deaths. Life's too short for lukewarm commitments. Nietzsche's eternal recurrence asks, would you relive this moment forever? If not, change it now. Memento mori. Let death teach you how to live. Try deathbed visualization. Imagine your last week. What will you regret not doing? Start those things today. The dying never wish they'd worked more or played safe. Small habits create massive change. 1% daily improvements compound to 37 times yearly. The 2-minute rule. Start new habits so small, they're impossible to skip. Nietzsche wrote, "Long obedience in the same direction. Consistency beats intensity. Show up daily. The magic is in the mundane repetition, not grand gestures." Money doesn't equal freedom. The poorest aren't those with little, but those who need endless more. Try a 30-day minimalism challenge. Discover what truly matters. Wisdom beats knowledge. Street smarts save lives when book smarts fail. Schedule monthly stupid hours. Try things you're bad at. Growth lives there. Nietzsche's Übermensch creates their own values, not rebel without cause, but architect of meaning. Your life needs your rules, not society's broken templates. The present is all that exists. Future you is fiction. Power lives now. Do a 5-minute sensory immersion daily. Fully experience this moment. This is your life happening. 82% of leaders feel unprepared for today's chaos. Nietzsche saw this coming. His solution? Become who you are. But first, we must destroy who you're pretending to be. The God is dead quote isn't about religion, it's about leadership. We killed old rules but created nothing better. Now we lead with empty suits and emptier visions. Meet Nietzsche's last man, the leader who seeks only comfort, who avoids hard decisions, who trades greatness for approval. Sound familiar? Most organizations are last man factories. Steve Jobs versus timid CEOs. One bent reality to his will. Others beg for consensus. Nietzsche warned, madness is rare in individuals, but the rule for organizations. Gallup data. 67% of employees sleepwalk through work. Why? Their leaders offer no meaning. Nietzsche's fix? He who has a why can bear any how. Where's your why? Modern leadership training is broken. We teach emotional intelligence but forget warrior spirit. Nietzsche wrote, "All greatness comes from enduring pain. When did we forget this?" Case study. A Fortune 500 CEO confessed, "I spend 70% of my time being politically careful." Nietzsche would call this slow suicide of the soul. The will to power isn't about dominating others, it's about self-mastery. The average leader checks email 150 times a day. Who's mastering whom? Exercise the power audit. For one day, rate every decision. Does this expand my power 1 or surrender it 10? Most leaders score 7+. That's the problem. Nietzsche's razor. Whatever doesn't kill my leadership makes it weaker. Comfortable leaders create fragile teams. Your avoidance is their limitation. Harvard research. Teams with meaning-making leaders outperform by 31%. Nietzsche's method? Become the meaning giver your people crave, not cheerleader, philosopher king. Warning, most misuse power. They dominate rather than elevate. They demand loyalty rather than inspire it. True power makes others powerful. That's the paradox. The data is clear. Only 14% of leaders create meaning. The rest? Nietzsche called them human dust, blowing wherever the wind takes them. Your leadership test. Can you stare into the abyss of uncertainty and not blink? Nietzsche wrote, "When you gaze long into chaos, chaos gazes also into you." Preview. In Part 2, you'll get Nietzsche's 3 tools for hard leaders. One transforms failure into fuel. Another turns enemies into teachers. The third, it's ruthless. But here's the tragedy. Most leaders learn these truths too late. Will you? The choice is yours. Continue sleeping or press play on Part 2 right now. Nietzsche didn't write for boardrooms. He wrote for battlefields. These 3 tools will forge you into a leader who doesn't just survive chaos but commands it. Tool 1. Will to power. Not domination, but self-mastery. Bezos used it to turn Amazon from bookseller to empire. Your move, daily power audits. Rate actions 1 to 10. Do they expand or shrink you? Case study, Satya Nadella took Microsoft from has-been to $2 trillion by embracing Nietzsche's become what you are. Fired the know-it-alls, hired learn-it-alls. Your culture mirrors your will to grow. Warning, most leaders confuse power with control. Real power, making others powerful. Weak leaders hoard authority. Strong leaders create more leaders. Where do you stand? Tool 2, Amor Fati, love your fate. Airbnb's pandemic pivot. They didn't survive, they evolved. Your framework. 1. Name your crisis. 2. How is this training me? 3. Act as if you chose it. Nietzsche's razor. What if this obstacle is the way? When Howard Schultz returned to Starbucks, he didn't fix the brand. He reinvented it through its scars. Exercise. The Fate Journal. Each morning write one challenge and finish this sentence. This is perfect because watch resistance turn to fuel. Data point. HBR found leaders who practice radical acceptance get promoted 42% faster. Nietzsche knew, fighting reality is for amateurs. Masters bend it to their will. Tool 3. Self-overcoming. Musk's hardcore Twitter takeover wasn't reckless. It was Nietzschean. You must burn to rise. Your ritual. Weekly stupid hour. Do what terrifies you. Case study, Sarah Blakely. Failed at law school, sold fax machines, then built Spanx. Nietzsche wrote, "The snake that won't shed its skin perishes." When did you last shed yours? The 5% rule. Seek discomfort that stretches you just beyond capacity. Navy SEALs measure growth in micro yeses. Tiny wins over resistance. Your growth lives there. Warning, most leadership advice is poison. Find your passion. Nietzsche says, become worthy of passion. Be authentic. He counters, create yourself. This is anti-guru wisdom. Tool synthesis. 1. Audit your power leaks. 2. Love your crises. 3. Outgrow yourself weekly. Track results for 14 days. You'll either quit or evolve beyond recognition. Nietzsche's warning. Knowledge without action is cowardice. Most viewers will close this video unchanged. Will you? The proof isn't in watching, it's in warriorship. In Part 3, How to Build a Nietzschean Organization. One Fortune 500 CEO used this to triple innovation. Another got fired for it. Which will you be? Comment below. Which tool will you implement today? Tag a leader who needs this. And prepare. Part 3 separates philosophers from followers. A Übermensch isn't about domination, it's about creation. While weak leaders follow rules, Nietzschean leaders write them. This is how you build an organization that outlives you. Step 1. Values creation. Patagonia's Don't Buy This Jacket campaign broke all marketing rules and quadrupled sales. Nietzsche's rule. Live dangerously, build on volcanoes. Exercise. The Rule Breaker Canvas. 1. List 3 industry sacred cows. 2. Reverse engineer better rules. 3. Implement one this quarter. Example, Netflix's no vacation policy. Warning, Musk's Twitter chaos proves Nietzsche's point, whoever fights monsters. True creators balance destruction with responsibility. Burn the rule book, not the bridge. Step 2. Shadow integration. Microsoft's Nadella transformed rage into empathy after his son's disability. Nietzsche, you must carry chaos to birth a dancing star. Tool, the Monster Journal. Weekly answer. 1. What trait do I hide? 2. How could it serve me? 3. When will I test it? Example, Zuckerberg's robot demeanor becoming strategic calm. Data. Leaders who integrate shadows get 73% higher team trust MIT. Nietzsche knew your flaws are unborn strengths waiting for context. Case study, Disney's Iger. Fired for being too nice, returned to buy Pixar by weaponizing empathy. Amor fati in action, he loved his weakness into power. Step 3. Legacy weaponization. Buffett's post-me shareholder letters force successors to uphold values. Nietzsche. Die at the right time means building systems that outlast you. Exercise. Write your leadership will. 1. 3 non-negotiables for successors. 2. 1 tradition to destroy. 3. 1 dangerous idea to plant. Update quarterly. The paradox. Great leaders make themselves unnecessary. Apple thrived post-Jobs because he baked rebellion into its DNA. Your test. Does your team create without you? Nietzsche's warning. The higher you soar, the smaller you appear. Most leaders fail here. They cling to power. True mastery is becoming irrelevant on your terms. Synthesis. 1. Create values. 2. Integrate shadows. 3. Engineer legacy. Do this for 1 quarter. You'll either build something immortal or learn why few dare to try. Final case. Brunello Cucinelli built a $2 billion empire on Nietzschean humanism, profit with dignity. Proves Uber leaders don't exploit systems, they redeem them. Your move. For 7 days, lead like Nietzsche's watching. Then email your results. Best transformation gets a live coaching session. The world needs fewer managers, more philosopher kings. Nietzsche's final lesson: become who you are. Not a title, not a role, a force of nature. The choice was never about leadership. It was about life. Now go live dangerously.
Ever feel emotions so deeply, it's like the world's pain is yours? That's not just sensitivity, it's being an empath. Empaths don't just hear emotions, they absorb them. Your heart's a radar, and it's always on. But here's the paradox. Your warmth attracts shadows. Carl Jung warned, the brighter your light, the darker the shadows it casts. Your compassion, it's a beacon for those who thrive in emotional darkness. Empaths often mistake exhaustion for purpose. You think giving endlessly is love, but it's really self-betrayal. Imagine a watering can trying to fill 100 cups while its own reservoir runs dry. Sound familiar? Worse, society praises this. You're so strong, they say, but strength isn't bleeding to fill others' voids. Jung's warning, your light isn't infinite, and some people, they'll drain you until you flicker. Ever leave a conversation feeling emptier than before? That's not coincidence, it's energy theft. Emotional vampires don't wear capes. They're the chronic complainers, the victims, the ones who take but never give. So here's the truth. Empathy without boundaries is self-destruction. You wouldn't hand a thief your wallet. Why hand them your soul? The first step to protection? Recognizing the drain. Think of your energy like a bank account. Every "I'm here for you" is a withdrawal. If you're overdrawn, you're no good to anyone, least of all yourself. Time to audit your emotional spending. This isn't about shutting down your heart, it's about guarding it. Because the world doesn't need another burned-out empath. It needs one who shines without burning up. Ready to turn your sensitivity into strength? The secret isn't less empathy, it's smarter empathy. And it starts with 3 laws. Let's talk armor. Armor up, empath. Law number 1, boundaries aren't walls, they're filters. Like a castle drawbridge, lower it only for those who respect your light. No isn't rejection, it's self-respect. Start small, I can't listen today. Law number 2, spot the vampires. They're not monsters, just unhealed souls who mistake your light for food. The victim, the narcissist, the drama magnet. Ask, do I feel energized or drained after we talk? Trust that answer. Law number 3, recharge like your life depends on it, because it does. Grounding isn't magic, it's science. Try the 3-3-3 rule. 3 breaths, 3 things you see, 3 sounds. You're a battery, plug back into the earth. Boundaries feel cruel at first. That's conditioning, not truth. Imagine a phone at 1%. Would you lend it? Your energy is worth more. Practice. Text I'll reply tomorrow and sit with the discomfort. It fades. Vampires hate boundaries. They'll pout, guilt trip, or vanish. Let them. If they flee your no, they were never there for your yes. Their resistance? Proof you're on the right path. Recharging isn't selfish, it's strategic. Empaths mistake rest for laziness, but a lighthouse doesn't burn 24/7. It conserves energy to guide ships. Your light, same rule. Schedule solitude like a CEO schedules meetings. Test these laws today. Say no to one ask. Hang up after 10 minutes with a complainer. Walk barefoot on grass. Small wins build your armor. Protection isn't a one-time shield. It's daily practice. Still feel guilty? Remember, a candle can't light others while drowning in wax. You're not responsible for others' darkness, only your radiance. Now let's turn survival into mastery. Empaths aren't meant to be martyrs. They're alchemists, transforming pain into wisdom. Ready to stop hiding your light and start leading with it? The final chapter begins now.
Empaths aren't victims, they're alchemists. Your shadows? Raw material. That pain you absorb? Fuel. Start today. Journal one sentence. What drained me this week taught me. Transform wounds into wisdom. Most empaths hide their light to avoid being drained, but dimming your glow is betrayal. The world needs lighthouses, not burnt-out bulbs. Your mission: shine fiercely, with boundaries as your spotlight. Audit your relationships like a CEO. 2 columns: energy creditors, take, and energy investors, give. Keep the investors, limit the creditors. You're not a charity, you're a sacred exchange. Your sensitivity is a superpower in a numb world. Doctors feel pain to heal it. Empaths feel darkness to transmute it. Stop apologizing for your depth. It's your competitive edge. Practice radical receptivity, receiving as much as you give. When someone offers help, say yes. Balance isn't selfish, it's the physics of empathy. The healthiest givers are also skilled receivers. Create an empath mantra. I am a conduit, not a sacrifice. Repeat it when guilt creeps in. Your energy flows where you direct it, not where it's demanded. Join the quiet revolution. Find one other empath this week. Share your boundaries like trade secrets. Alone, you're a light bulb. Together, a power grid. Jung's final warning was a gift. Now you know the world will feed on your light if you let it. But you're the guardian of your glow. Your turn. Pause this video. Write your empath oath. I vow to protect so I can amplify something. Then go shine. Don't serve. The shadows never stood a chance. Nietzsche walks into a bar. Bartender says, "Trouble?" He replies, "Only with existence." Meet Friedrich Nietzsche, the philosopher who turned anxiety, chaos, and power struggles into poetry, and somehow made it funny. Born in 1844, Nietzsche challenged every safe idea. He wrote with fire, walked alone, and questioned everything. He didn't whisper thoughts, he detonated them. You didn't read Nietzsche, you survived him. Nietzsche didn't believe truth was discovered, he believed it was built. There are no facts, only interpretations. Notebooks, 1887. Meaning, if you're quoting reality, you might just be quoting your filter. He hated the herd mentality. The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. Beyond Good and Evil, section 284. Nietzsche's version of peer pressure? Philosophical horror film. Nietzsche wanted you to become your own thinker, not a copy. Become who you are. The Gay Science, section 270. Not what your job, parents, or Instagram tells you. You, bold, weird, and real. You know those people who change opinions based on trends? Nietzsche would call them soft clay in a storm. He said most people don't think. They just rehearse social scripts with better grammar. He believed laughter was survival. Man alone suffers so deeply he had to invent laughter. The Will to Power, note number 56. For Nietzsche, humor wasn't a distraction, it was rebellion with style. Nietzsche didn't want comfort, he wanted chaos. One must still have chaos in oneself to be able to give birth to a dancing star. Thus spoke Zarathustra. Translation: stop playing safe, dance through the storm. He believed following others blindly was soul-deep failure. He who cannot obey himself will be commanded. Thus spoke Zarathustra. You either write your life, or someone else picks up the pen. Nietzsche wasn't just deep. He was dangerous, hilarious, and human. His message? Life's a mess. Embrace it. Don't just exist, create. Think hard, laugh harder, and never ever join the herd. Nietzsche didn't think survival was life's main drive. He said we crave power, not just over others, but over ourselves. Life itself is the will to power, beyond good and evil. Section 13. Will to power isn't domination. It's creation, expansion, expression. Winning isn't crushing others. It's becoming more you than yesterday. Think Jim Gaines, but for the soul. Nietzsche was a life coach with a sword. Ever feel proud arguing your point online? Nietzsche would call that micro power play. Whether it's chess, career, or group chat drama, you're flexing your will to power, one sarcastic emoji at a time. He saw weakness in those who avoided conflict. The noble soul has reverence for itself. Beyond good and evil, paragraph 287. Translation: if you value peace over truth, you're shrinking, not growing. Nietzsche's ideal human wasn't a rule follower. It was the Übermensch. No, not a cape-wearing savior. A creator of values. Someone who makes meaning instead of inheriting it. Basically, the opposite of your committee boss. Man is something that shall be overcome. Thus spoke Zarathustra. Nietzsche didn't mean become a robot. He meant evolve. Not physically, mentally, creatively, spiritually, from sheep to shepherd, from copy to original. Think of the Übermensch like this. They hear noise but move in silence. Everyone panics. They write poetry. Everyone copies. They invent. They fail, then laugh louder. Nietzsche didn't want safe people. He wanted fire. Modern life? Nietzsche would say, too many followers, not enough creators. Too much comfort, not enough courage. You can't become the Übermensch if your biggest risk is switching phone brands. Power, to Nietzsche, was becoming your future self before anyone else believes in them. That awkward, terrifying version of you, waiting at the edge of risk, Nietzsche would say, go become that. So next time someone challenges you, don't just react. Ask, is this weakness or will to power? Choose the latter. Create, speak, risk. Be the philosopher your Netflix algorithm fears. Imagine this. Every moment you live now, you'll live again. Same coffee, same traffic, same weird coworker, forever. Nietzsche called this idea eternal recurrence, and it wasn't just mind-bending. It was a challenge. In The Gay Science, section 341, Nietzsche writes, "This life as you now live it, you will have to live once more and innumerable times more. Not a metaphor, a test. Would you say yes?" Eternal recurrence isn't about literal time travel. It's a psychological mirror. Would you live your exact life again without changing a thing? If the answer is no, then something's broken. Nietzsche wanted to slap you awake with this idea. Same fears, regrets, YouTube rabbit holes on loop. If that scares you, good. That's your soul asking for renovation. Eternal recurrence is the opposite of wishful thinking. It's brutal honesty. It asks, are your choices worth repeating? Or are you sleepwalking through your one chance like it's a loading screen? This concept isn't depressing. It's empowering. If you'd proudly relive your Tuesday over and over, you're living like Nietzsche's ideal. If not, it's rebuild time. New values, better days, fewer Zoom calls. Nietzsche said, "The great man is he who says yes to life, the will to power," note 1041. That includes failure, boredom, and heartbreak. The yes means I will endure and create. Modern hack. Want to test your life? Imagine repeating today endlessly. Would that feel like torture or triumph? Nietzsche would say, fix it now. Don't wait for motivation. Time's already looping. Most people live like they're killing time. Eternal recurrence says, time's killing you, slowly, in circles. So why not dance through it? Make choices you'd proudly rewind. So, live like déjà vu is watching. Create like your soul's on camera. Eternal recurrence isn't a curse, it's an invitation. Nietzsche's whispering, make your life so good you'd gladly hit repeat. Nietzsche wasn't trying to depress you. He was trying to wake you up. Life is absurd, yes. But so what? Dance anyway. Laugh, bleed, think, repeat. That's the game and the gift. His message? Don't wait for meaning. Make it. Life's not a puzzle you solve. It's a canvas you ruin beautifully. One must give value to their existence by behaving as if one's life were a work of art. Notebooks, 1888. You are not your routine. You are not your feed. You're the painter, not the paint. Nietzsche didn't want followers. He wanted creators, rebels with a reason, weirdos with will. So what's the takeaway? You're not here to fit in. You're here to transform. And if you're laughing while doing it, Nietzsche would smile, twist his mustache, and say, finally, someone gets the joke. JFK faced a trap question, shrugged, stared 7 silent seconds, cameras rolling. Reporters frantically scribbled, his pause dominated without one syllable. Welcome to the weapon of silence, where power lives between breaths, not decibels or shouts. We're conditioned to speak louder, faster, longer, believing volume equals influence. Harvard Business Review, 2019 proved opposite. Executives talking least were rated 21% more competent. Noise dilutes authority. Brevity radiates cool, collected command instead. Picture the meeting motor mouth. Words spill like caffeine jitters. Listeners check phones, disengage. Meanwhile, the quiet observer notes weaknesses, chooses timing. When they finally speak, the room resets, attention funnels toward concise, decisive direction instantly. This phenomenon has a name, strategic silence. Neuroscientists call it a dominance display, similar to wolves staring calmly before asserting hierarchy. Humans instinctively respect restraint, interpreting poise as certainty, certainty as competence, competence as authority. Nietzsche warned, he who cannot obey himself will be commanded. Self-control begins with tongue control. By refusing reactive speech, you proclaim sovereignty over impulses, signaling master morality. No permission needed, no apologies offered, only deliberate impact. Gus Fring, Breaking Bad's quiet villain, whispers orders calmly, yet cartel kingpins tremble. Audience feels tension precisely because silence stretches uncertainty. Less dialogue, more dread, illustrating that power isn't loud footsteps, it's the echo after them. Stanford Communication Lab timed negotiators. Those inserting a 2-second pause before rebuttal were judged 35% more authoritative, independent of argument's quality. The brain equates silence with confidence, confidence with resources, resources with status instinctively. fMRI scans reveal quiet listeners' prefrontal cortex stays cooler, processing social signals more accurately, while talkative counterparts flood stress circuits. Remaining silent isn't passive. It's neurological advantage, observing patterns, predicting moves, engineering calculated interventions and outcomes. Centuries earlier, Sun Tzu advised, appear weak when you are strong. Warriors conserved words, letting enemy nerves amplify doubts. Silence weaponizes imagination. The mind fills void with fears, granting you leverage without physical escalation ever. You're probably wondering, how do I wield this in meetings, relationships, negotiations? We'll decode step-by-step techniques, breath tempo, eye anchoring, timed pauses, to transform presence tomorrow morning. First, recognize costs of uncontrolled chatter that erodes silent authority. Consider the overeager candidate who hijacks interviews with monologues, reveals insecurities, and loses job offers. Recruiters cite lack of poise. Ironically, withholding details would suggest value. Silence creates mystique. Mystique sparks demand among hiring managers. In 60 seconds, we'll dive into biology behind mirror neurons and why a single breath held can flip dominance hierarchies. Subscribe, stay focused. Part 2 uncovers laboratory secrets. Ready to open the lab door? We're dissecting silence with scalpels of data. Neuroscientists place electrodes, executives face cameras, dominance measured in milliseconds. Harvard's leadership initiative tracked 300 board meetings. Directors speaking under 9% of total time were promoted 42% faster. Brevity signaled confidence, control, strategic thinking. Noise looked needy. Less airtime, bigger chair. Stanford's psychophysiology lab filmed negotiations. Participants practicing 2-second pre-reply pauses gained 35% larger concessions. Observers rated them calm, formidable, unpredictably smart. Silence stretches opponents' cortisol curves, making short offers preferable just to end tension. Functional MRI reveals silent listeners' prefrontal cortex retains oxygenated blood longer, sustaining analytical clarity. Meanwhile, chatterboxes trigger amygdala floods, narrowing cognition. Quiet literally keeps your brain cooler, letting rational chess players systematically defeat impulsive checkers. University College London mapped mirror neurons. When you hold a calm posture, observers' motor cortex mimics micro-stillness, lowering their heart rate, opening persuasion circuits. Your biological poise becomes contagious authority, silently deputizing everyone in proximity. Biochemists at Yale measured hormonal cocktails after conversation. Pauses boosted dopamine anticipation in listeners, while speakers' adrenaline decayed. Anticipation equals attention. Attention equals influence. Each swallow of silence drips glue that sticks your message forever. Columbia's power pose research shows expansive posture combined with measured silence instantly spikes testosterone 15%, drops cortisol 10%. Status hormones reconfigure voice timbre when you finally speak, making statements land like verdicts, not suggestions. University of Michigan eye tracking found listeners gaze 48% longer at speakers who delay replies. Pupils dilate, signaling arousal and mnemonic encoding. Strategic stillness literally pulls eyes, embedding your presence inside their hippocampus memory folders. Robert Greene crystallized this in Law 4, always say less than necessary. The less detail, the wider imagination paints authority. Neuroscience now validates Greene, Nietzsche, even ancient Stoics. Brains worship blanks, filling them with perceived greatness. Take Satya Nadella. Early Microsoft meetings, he asked one concise question, then disappeared into silence. Engineers scrambled, clarifying possibilities. Revenue climbed billions. Sometimes leadership isn't pushing ideas forward, but vacuuming room to let others breathe. Science distills 3 actionable levers: deliberate pause before speech, controlled still posture, minimal essential wording. Deploy them together, and career metrics, from promotion odds to negotiation gains, dramatically skyrocket. Your quiet becomes algorithmic advantage competitors can't reverse engineer. Next segment translates these findings into daily playbooks, emails, interviews, confrontations. Hit subscribe, steady your breath. Part 3 hands you practical drills forging monk-level composure within 7 days. Power may be silent, but suspense continues. Let's turn theory into weapons. Silence isn't just for monks or CEOs. It's a daily tool. Whether you're in meetings, arguments, or interviews, we'll now train your quiet into a commanding force field of presence. Start here. In your next conversation, pause 2 seconds before replying. This micro delay projects confidence, not confusion. People subconsciously adjust to your tempo. They speak slower, listen harder. You've just reset the power dynamic silently. In interviews, answer with brevity. Speak, pause, then let your words breathe. Recruiters associate stillness with preparedness. You don't need to rush. You own the space. Silence makes your statements sound like conclusions, not suggestions. During conflict, don't rush to defend. Let accusations float unanswered for a moment. The silence will make your counterpart self-correct or grow uncomfortable. Emotional control shifts the upper hand without ever raising your voice. In group settings, speak once, powerfully, then go quiet. Watch how people lean in, interpret your silence, and seek your reactions. You're no longer just a participant. You become the reference point in the conversation. Emails 2. Remove excess words. Delete I think, just, maybe. Fewer lines equals stronger perception. Silence in text equals clarity. Clarity equals authority. Don't fill inboxes with fluff. Hit like thunder, then vanish like mist. Online presence. Avoid oversharing. Mysterious profiles with purposeful content attract attention. Think Elon Musk tweets. Minimal, cryptic, viral. Loudness fades fast. Silence sticks. Don't broadcast. Imprint. Let your absence make them wonder, not forget. Here's a daily drill. Breathe deep. Sit still for 1 minute daily in conversation. Resist urge to fill every silence. You'll feel the discomfort at first, but mastery begins where anxiety ends. Stay with it. Advanced move. Reverse silence. Ask someone a powerful question, then don't say another word. The pause makes them reveal more than intended. Power isn't always in what you say, but in what you let escape. Another. Look people directly in the eye. Say something impactful, then hold eye contact in silence. That silent gaze becomes unforgettable. Eye contact plus pause equals psychological anchor. They'll remember how you looked, not just words. Your goal isn't to dominate, it's to anchor. Silence stabilizes chaos. In moments of doubt or pressure, silence becomes a magnetic pull. In group settings, it builds mystery. In close ones, it builds gravity. Up next, we explore silence as legacy, how great leaders used restraint to write history. From Nietzsche's sovereign individual to JFK's calculated pauses. Stay locked in. Part 4 shows how silence creates permanence. True masters don't use silence sometimes, they build entire legacies around it. It's not a tactic, it's a philosophy. From ancient warriors to modern visionaries, restraint became their signature. Let's trace how silence etched power in history. Marcus Aurelius, emperor-philosopher, journaled quietly in meditations, never meant for fame. His inner silence trained outer calm. He ruled chaos without theatrics. That quiet conviction, it's why we remember him, not the ones who screamed louder. JFK's silences weren't nerves, they were strategy. Every pause made reporters lean forward, hanging on his next word. It wasn't charisma, it was calculated restraint. Silence elevated his words from soundbites to statesmanship. Nietzsche called it sovereign individuality, the ability to govern yourself so thoroughly no one else dares try. That begins with silence, not just the absence of noise, but the presence of unshakable self-mastery. Even Sun Tzu wrote, "The greatest victories are won without battle. Silence can disarm without swords. When you don't flinch, don't rush, don't explain, you starve your opponent of energy. That's total control." Maya Angelou said, "People will forget what you said, but not how you made them feel." And silence makes people feel tension, curiosity, awe. It lingers. Sound evaporates. Silence echoes. In leadership, it's called executive presence. In negotiation, it's called the pause of power. In relationships, it's emotional control. The packaging may change, but the substance is silence. That invisible force shapes perception more than words. You don't need to change your voice, just your reaction time. Practice waiting one extra beat. People will recalibrate around you. They'll lean in, mirror you, even fear interrupting. That's how quiet becomes command. In a loud world, silence is rebellion. It's the rarest signal. And rare things have value. When you master the pause, you don't just speak differently. You exist differently. You move with intent. That's power. So next time you feel the urge to over-explain, overspeak, or overreact, pause. Just pause. Let your silence speak louder than 10,000 words. Because if you control that moment, you control everything. If this video shifted how you think, good. You're one step closer to sovereign power. Subscribe for more mind-altering truths. Comment your favorite silent power move. Be quiet, but never unnoticed. Silence isn't empty, it's full of answers.
What if your pleasure is your prison? You scroll, swipe, binge, feeling free. But Aldous Huxley warned, one day comfort will be used to chain us. In Brave New World 1932, Huxley imagined a world where no one rebels because everyone is too happy to care. Forget dictators, forget war. In Huxley's future, control comes not through pain, but through endless pleasure. He wrote, "The perfect dictatorship would appear democratic, a prison without walls." Aldous Huxley saw our world 90 years ago. Look around, Instagram filters, dopamine scrolls, TikTok dances. Is this freedom or a beautifully designed cage? Your phone buzzes again. That's not distraction, that's modern soma. In the novel, soma was a drug that kept people peaceful, dumb, and obedient. We don't burn books anymore. We drown truth in entertainment. Neil Postman explained this in Amusing Ourselves to Death. Huxley feared this more than Orwell. 1984 warned of Big Brother watching. Huxley warned of a world where no one cares they're being watched. You're not forced to obey. You're addicted to comfort. That's how freedom dies, not with violence, but with a smile. So before we go deeper, ask yourself, are you thinking freely or just comfortably numb? In Brave New World, 1932, Aldous Huxley built a future where humans are mass-produced, conditioned, and chemically sedated. There's no war, no hunger, no pain. Sounds perfect, not quite. There's also no love, no family, no art, and no freedom. From birth, people are engineered for their roles. Alphas lead, epsilons obey. Individuality, deleted. Children are trained to hate nature and love shopping, because obedience sells better than curiosity. When people feel sad, anxious, or bored, they don't think. They take soma, a happiness drug that silences all discomfort. Huxley wrote, "Christianity without tears, that's what soma is. A cure for pain by killing depth." Sex is casual, art is banned, truth is a threat, peace is maintained by pleasure, not purpose. In this world, books are useless. Why read when you can take a pill or watch feelies, holographic entertainment shows? There are no revolutions here. Why rebel when life feels good enough? As Huxley put it, people will come to love their servitude. No one is forced to obey. They're just too entertained to care. Sound familiar? That's the disturbing genius of Huxley. He didn't predict the future, he decoded it, almost a century early. Aldous Huxley wasn't just a novelist, he was a philosopher, and his deepest fear, pleasure would replace freedom. He warned, we'll be distracted by endless entertainment. Truth will drown in a sea of irrelevance. Unlike Orwell, Huxley feared no need for censorship. People would simply stop caring to read or think. In Brave New World Revisited, 1958, he doubled down. Society was already moving toward this pleasure prison. He observed, the appetite for distractions is insatiable. Sound familiar? Try turning off your phone for 10 minutes. We've become addicted to dopamine hits, not truth, not meaning, just endless novelty. This is hedonism as control. When comfort is God, courage dies. Modern tyranny doesn't come with boots. It comes with infinite choice and no purpose. As philosopher Byung-Chul Han said, we've moved from a disciplinary society to an achievement society, where burnout replaces oppression. We choose to comply, choose to numb out, because resistance takes effort and pain. Huxley didn't fear dictatorship. He feared people wouldn't care enough to resist one. As philosopher Byung-Chul Han said, we've moved from a disciplinary society to an achievement society, where burnout replaces oppression. Look around. Pleasure isn't rare, it's weaponized. Every ping, scroll, like, and sale is part of an ecosystem built to sedate your mind. Your feed isn't random. It's designed by teams of psychologists to keep your dopamine flowing and your thoughts silenced. TikTok, Netflix, Pornhub, Amazon, not entertainment, digital soma, numbing millions into quiet obedience, one click at a time. A 2023 study by Nature found our attention span has dropped to 47 seconds. That's not evolution, it's erosion. You're not free when you're always distracted. You're just being guided by invisible puppeteers called algorithms. And guess what? You like it. We all do. Comfort feels better than thinking, and that's the trap. Huxley feared this: a society where people choose slavery as long as it comes with fun, noise, and food delivery. In Brave New World Revisited 1958, Huxley warned, mass media and mass production are shaping mass conformity. He wasn't against technology. He was against technology being used to kill awareness. In 2024, we have endless access to knowledge, but most choose memes over meaning. That's not freedom, that's sedation. Marketing now sells identity. We don't buy things, we buy dopamine. And this freedom to choose is exactly what enslaves us. No one bans books, we just scroll past them. No one silences truth, we just ignore it for trending sound bites. Every pleasure today is hyper-accessible, but meaning buried, too boring, too quiet, too difficult. You won't rebel when you're entertained. You won't seek meaning when you're satisfied. You won't question when you're constantly fed. The greatest trick wasn't stealing your freedom. It was making you trade it for 10% off and same-day shipping. Ask yourself, when was the last time you chose discomfort over convenience? Nietzsche said, "He who has a why can bear almost any how." But in today's world, we've replaced why with whatever's trending. Postman was right. We're amusing ourselves to death, not with whips, but with whispers of pleasure. Huxley predicted addiction to ease, and that we'd one day call it progress. This isn't science fiction. This is modern life. You are living in Brave New World 2.0 with better lighting and Wi-Fi. So the question isn't, did Huxley get it right? It's, are you awake enough to do something about it? Or will you just scroll to the next video? You are not powerless. You can choose awareness over autopilot. It starts with asking better questions. Plug sometimes. Read Huxley, reflect, because comfort that costs your clarity is not comfort at all. Leave a comment. What's your modern-day soma? Let's start the rebellion together. If this woke you up, share it. Someone in your feed needs this more than they know. Subscribe for more videos that challenge your reality, not just entertain it. You weren't born to obey, you were born to awaken, and it all begins with awareness.
Have you ever noticed some people don't speak much but still grab everyone's attention? That's not luck, it's silent power. And Nietzsche had a lot to say about it. Friedrich Nietzsche, the German philosopher, believed real strength isn't loud, it's quiet. Calm people don't need to dominate, they influence by simply being in control of themselves. He wrote, "He who cannot obey himself will be commanded." Thus spoke Zarathustra. If you can't lead yourself, someone else will do it for you. Silent power is not about being passive, it's about being centered. People can feel your energy without you needing to prove anything. That's real presence. 2024 University of Michigan study found calm individuals are seen as more confident and trustworthy. People trust those who don't react emotionally to everything. Nietzsche also said, "When you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss gazes into you. Beyond good and evil, know yourself deeply, and you'll stand firm." In every room, there's someone who listens more than they talk. They watch, process, and act with precision. That's not introversion, it's power under control. In a world full of noise, the one who stays grounded becomes magnetic. Nietzsche's silent power isn't about being quiet. It's about being quietly unshakable. Let's break it down. What makes silent power so magnetic? It's not mystery for the sake of drama. It's control. Calmness in a chaotic world is rare and valuable. Nietzsche introduced the concept of the Übermensch, a higher type of human who creates his own values. That person doesn't chase attention, he moves with intention. He wrote, "The higher we soar, the smaller we appear to those who cannot fly." Thus spoke Zarathustra. Meaning, people might not get you, and that's okay. Silence gives you space to think clearly, observe deeply, and act smartly. It's not empty, it's strategic. You choose when to speak and what's worth your energy. Psychologists say emotional self-regulation leads to higher respect and leadership trust. Calm people are seen as more capable during stress. That's power without shouting. Nietzsche wasn't promoting arrogance, he was warning against losing your core. He respected people who mastered themselves before trying to influence the world. In modern life, most people talk too much and think too little. Silent power flips that. Think deeply, speak meaningfully, and people will start to notice. When you don't chase approval, approval starts chasing you. That's the beauty of silent power. It doesn't beg for attention. It earns it without trying too hard. Let's make it real. How do you apply silent power in daily life? It's not about saying nothing. It's about saying only what matters and meaning every word. Start by pausing before you speak. That 2-second silence, it creates impact. It shows you're not reacting, you're thinking. That pause becomes your signature. Nietzsche said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." Quoted in Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, purpose gives power to silence. Don't speak to fill the gap, let your silence build weight. People notice those who don't fight for attention. It sets you apart in a noisy world. In tough situations, your calm becomes leadership. A Columbia University study found silent composure increases perceived authority, even in group decisions. That's silent power in action. Choose your words like currency, valuable, not cheap. Speak when you add clarity, not clutter. That's how you build presence without forcing it. Remember, silent power isn't about being cold, it's about being intentional. You're not ignoring people, you're prioritizing depth over noise. That earns lasting respect. In a world where everyone wants to be heard, the one who listens and lives with quiet strength becomes unforgettable. And that, my friend, is pure Nietzsche. Some truths don't flatter us, they cut. Nietzsche's view of women isn't comfort, it's confrontation. And we're still trying to understand it. Friedrich Nietzsche, German philosopher, 1844 to 1900. His words shook morality, challenged culture, and unsettled almost everyone, especially when it came to women. In Thus Spoke Zarathustra, he writes, "Going to women? Don't forget the whip. Misunderstood, condemned, but never forgotten. Zarathustra, Part 1. That line wasn't about violence. It was about power, control, seduction, instinct. Nietzsche didn't whisper about gender. He ripped the mask off. In Beyond Good and Evil, 239, woman wants to be mastered. A sentence that still ignites lectures and arguments in top universities. He saw femininity not as inferior, but as wild, instinctual energy, resistant to logic, untamable by morality, beyond good and evil. His personal life was marked by solitude. Lou Andreas Salome rejected him. That pain wasn't private. It bled into his philosophy. Lou later wrote a book on him, Nietzsche, 1894, a rejection yet also a tribute. Philosophy and heartbreak had collided. Nietzsche believed gender, like morality, is a mask, used to control, not to understand. Genealogy of morals. If this kind of raw, challenging thought makes you pause, don't scroll away. Subscribe now. Let's keep asking the questions that hurt. Simone de Beauvoir, in The Second Sex, saw Nietzsche as reducing women to shadows of male desire, powerful but dehumanized. Camille Paglia disagreed. In Sexual Personae, she defended Nietzsche as the only philosopher who truly saw female power without flinching. So who's right? That's the tension and the value. Misogyny or myth-breaker? Nietzsche never let you settle. At Oxford and Yale, his texts still trigger arguments. Cancel him or confront what he forces us to see? What makes Nietzsche different isn't that he offended. It's that he made people think long after the offense passed. In today's fractured gender politics, Nietzsche's harshness feels oddly familiar. His diagnosis? We're still lying to ourselves about desire and control. He said, stop pretending. About love, about gender, about morality. Stop pretending it's anything but power, clothed in culture. Agree or not, he never let you hide behind comfort, and maybe that's why we still read him. We don't read Nietzsche to follow, we read him to fight, and that fight doesn't end in the classroom. If you stayed till now, you already know this isn't a normal channel. Subscribe, and let's keep confronting the truths we avoid.
What if school wasn't made to free your mind, but to silence it? The state calls education what it means to call taming, Nietzsche. In the 1800s, Prussia built a system not for thinking, but for obedience. That system spread globally. It shaped the way we learn today. John Taylor Gatto, award-winning teacher, said, "Schools teach children to obey orders, not to think freely." Arthur Schopenhauer warned, most men don't want truth, only a comfortable belief. Research from Harvard, children's divergent thinking drops 90% after 5 years in school. Is your mind truly yours if it was trained to fear questioning? Nietzsche believed, to become who you are, you must destroy who you were told to be. This isn't just about school. It's about how we're shaped from the very beginning. You weren't born to memorize. You were born to wonder. Remember when you asked why 1,000 times? That was your mind exploring. Then school taught you, asking too much equals disruption. Jean Piaget said, children build knowledge through exploration, not instruction. In classrooms, exploration is replaced by control, silence, and repetition. Raise your hand, wait for permission, don't question the answer. Study by Dr. George Land, 98% of 5-year-olds are creative geniuses. At age 15, only 12%. Why? Because school trains correctness, not curiosity. Nietzsche wrote, "He who obeys does not listen to himself." We trade wonder for rules, Curiosity for performance. Schopenhauer warned, conformity kills the will. Curiosity is not childish, it's the first form of intelligence. What if education fed questions instead of crushing them? Why do schools look like factories? Rows, bells, silence, repetition. The Prussian model was built to train obedient soldiers and workers. American schools adopted it in the 19th century. Result: discipline over discovery. Raise your hand, ask only when asked, think only what's allowed. Michel Foucault called it disciplinary power, control over bodies and minds. Tests don't measure intelligence, they measure conformity. Noam Chomsky said, "The education system is a system of indoctrination of the young." Nietzsche warned, "One must still have chaos in oneself to give birth to a dancing star." But schools erase chaos. They enforce calm, predictable minds. We are taught to avoid mistakes, yet that's how we truly learn. A factory produces products. A school, sadly, produces sameness.
What if great thinkers saw schools not as temples of knowledge, but as factories of obedience? Nietzsche believed real learning comes from struggle, not comfort or conformity. The surest way to corrupt youth is to instruct them to hold in higher esteem those who think alike. Nietzsche. Schopenhauer argued, society resists truth because truth is uncomfortable. He wrote, most people take the limits of their vision for the limits of the world. Nietzsche warned about herd mentality. It destroys individuality and creativity. In schools, morality becomes obedience. Thinking differently becomes dangerous. Schopenhauer saw education as fear-based conditioning, not the path to wisdom. True learning, Nietzsche said, happens when you challenge, not follow authority. To learn to see, to accustom the eye to calm, to patience, to letting things come to it. Nietzsche. Modern education teaches what to think, not how to think. These philosophers didn't just criticize education, they called us to remake it entirely. What happens when everyone thinks the same? Progress halts, creativity fades, obedience wins. Harvard study, school reduces divergent thinking. Fewer original ideas, more fear of being wrong. We're educating people out of their creative capacities. In standardized systems, children learn there's only one right answer. That kills exploration. Society celebrates the safe, silences the original. Thinkers like Da Vinci, Tesla, or Galileo defied norms. They wouldn't survive today's classrooms. The system doesn't reward thinkers. It rewards followers. Schopenhauer warned, conformity breeds mediocrity, not greatness. Nietzsche believed sameness suffocates the will to power, the drive to be unique. A student afraid to fail becomes an adult afraid to live fully. Conformity makes minds safe, but not strong. A society without dissent stops evolving, it just repeats. Creativity isn't extra, it's essential. It's how we solve, adapt, imagine, and evolve. Creativity is as important as literacy, and we should treat it with the same status. In most schools, mistakes are punished, but creativity depends on permission to fail. Creativity isn't about drawing, it's about thinking differently. Study 98% of 5-year-olds test as creative geniuses. By age 15, only 12%. Why the drop? School rewards correct answers, not original thought.
Imagine being told you're free, while every move you make is watched, timed, and judged silently. That's not a prison, that's school. Welcome to the illusion of freedom we call education. From day one, you're trained to sit still, follow rules, and obey without question. Philosopher Schopenhauer said, "Real knowledge does not arise from mere repetition." Yet school repeats everything. Learning becomes memorization. Memorization becomes obedience. Obedience becomes normal. The marshmallow experiment taught kids to wait quietly for a reward, not to explore or challenge. Schools adopted that model. Sit, wait, be good, be rewarded. Creativity became a problem, not a gift. At age 5, kids ask hundreds of questions. By age 12, almost none. What happened? We didn't grow out of curiosity. It was slowly erased by the system we trusted to grow us. In Finland, students are encouraged to question, and they still perform better than in rigid systems. Ivan Illich once said, "School is the advertising agency for the society you're forced to accept." Schools teach roles: when to talk, when to move, who's in charge, who stays silent. It's not education, it's a factory, not freedom, a formula. Ask yourself honestly, when did you stop asking why? Who taught you to stop? What is the true cost of compliance in education? What do we sacrifice when we stop thinking for ourselves? Nietzsche warned us, "He who fights with monsters should be careful lest he thereby become a monster." When we stop questioning, we start becoming what the system wants: silent, safe, predictable, replaceable. Schools reward you for agreeing, not for challenging. Thinking differently becomes risky, even punished. Over time, students stop raising hands, not because they know less, but because they fear being wrong. This fear stays with us, into adulthood, into jobs, into relationships. Compliance becomes our comfort zone. Nietzsche believed that true strength comes from struggle, not from fitting in or staying safe. When you follow too long, you forget how to lead, you stop hearing your own voice. Studies show that conformist education reduces creative problem-solving in adulthood by over 60%. Creativity isn't lost, it's unpracticed, buried beneath years of being told what's correct. Philosopher Jiddu Krishnamurti said, "It is no measure of health to be well-adjusted to a sick society." A system that discourages doubt is a system afraid of change, and that's dangerous. Real progress doesn't come from rule followers. It comes from rule breakers, risk takers, question askers. So what did school really teach you? How to learn or how to obey? If we want to reclaim curiosity, we must first unlearn the comfort of compliance. You weren't born to obey. You were born to wonder, question, explore, create, and think beyond the system. School may have shaped your past, but curiosity can reclaim your future. Start asking why again. Because freedom doesn't start with permission. It starts with a question. Picture this. You're in a crowded stadium. Everyone's cheering, so you cheer too. But what if they're all wrong? Nietzsche called this the herd mentality, where society's rules become your rules, without you even realizing it. Scary, right? Here's the problem. The herd doesn't want you to think. It wants you to obey. Wear these clothes, chase this job, want these things. And if you don't, you're weird. But what's weirder? Living someone else's life? Nietzsche said most people are sheep, comfortable, safe, and stuck. But the lions? They question everything. They ask, who made these rules? And why should I follow them? So, which one are you? Let's be honest. Breaking free terrifies us. What if people laugh? What if you fail? But here's the truth. The herd uses fear to control you. And the only way out? Face it. Rebelling doesn't mean burning everything down. It starts small. Skip the trend, say no to peer pressure. Think for yourself. That tiny spark? It's the beginning of freedom. Society loves fake rules. You need a degree to succeed. Rich people are evil. Follow your passion. Money doesn't matter. But what if those are just stories to keep you in line? Try this. For one day, act like an alien studying humans. Why do we queue silently? Why do we buy things we don't need? You'll start seeing the invisible cages and the keys to unlock them. Conformity has a hidden cost, your soul. Ever met someone who has it all, but feels empty? That's the herd's bargain. Trade your truth for approval, and it's a bad deal. One day, something clicks. You realize, wait, I never chose this life. It was chosen for me. That moment, it's terrifying, and it's the best thing that can happen to you. Every great story starts with a hero leaving the village. For you, the village is the herd, the dragons, their judgments, but the treasure, a life that's truly yours. Here's the hard part. Walking your path means walking alone sometimes, not because you're wrong, but because most people are too scared to join you. Forget normal. Create your own rules. Work when you're productive. Wear what you love. Chase weird goals. The herd will whisper, "Who do you think you are?" Smile and say, "Someone brave." The herd hates no, but no is your superpower. No to toxic people. No to empty trends. No to living on autopilot. Every no clears space for a hell yes. Expect backlash. The herd protects itself by attacking rebels. But remember, those who matter don't mind, and those who mind don't matter. What's on the other side? Freedom, creativity, peace, the joy of waking up and thinking, this is my life. And I built it. No approval needed. So, will you stay with the herd or take your first step into the unknown? The choice is yours. And trust me, the lions are waiting. The herd's biggest lie? Stay here. It's safe. But is it? Jobs vanish, trends die, and one day you wake up realizing the safe path was the riskiest one of all. Every time you suppress an idea to fit in, you pay a tax with your creativity, your joy, your potential. Over a lifetime, that's bankruptcy of the soul. Rebellion isn't always loud. It's the artist who ignores critics, the entrepreneur who works late, the introvert who says, "I'd rather stay home." Small acts, huge courage. A herd can't see outside its own cage. That crazy idea you have, it's only crazy until it works. Then suddenly, everyone pretends they believed in you all along. When the herd laughs at you, they're not laughing at your dreams. They're terrified of their own. Their mockery, just fear in disguise. Imagine burning society's rulebook. What's left? Your instincts, your values. That's where genius lives, in the ashes of shoulds and musts. The top 1% aren't smarter. They just asked, "Why not me?" While the herd waits for permission, rebels declare, "I'll decide what's possible." Try this. For a week, stop doing one thing just because everyone does it. No small talk, no fake smiles. Watch how light you feel. Picture the herd at a funeral. Whose life are they celebrating? The one who followed all the rules and left nothing behind. Don't let that be you. Ever notice? Innovators are always outsiders, because seeing the world differently isn't a flaw, it's your unfair advantage. The herd just calls it weird until it wins. Yes, leaving the herd is lonely at first, but soon you'll attract fellow travelers. The right people find you when you stop pretending to be someone else. You don't need the herd's approval. Write yourself a permission slip. I am allowed to be different. Signed, me. Now act like it. What terrifies the herd most? Not that you'll fail, but that you'll succeed without them. Because then, their excuses crumble. Morning ritual for rebels. 1. Ask, what do I want today? 2. Ignore what makes sense. 3. Do one thing that scares the old you. Every time you choose authenticity, you give others permission to do the same. Your courage becomes a torch in the dark for someone who's still trapped. This is your crossroads. The herd whispers, "Come back." Your soul whispers, "Go further." Who will you listen to? Part 3 awaits. The moment you leave the herd, something unexpected happens. The fear fades, the world expands, and you realize the prison door was never locked. You were just afraid to push it open. Now the real test begins. The herd will try to pull you back, with guilt, with doubt, with friendly warnings. Their secret fear? That you'll prove their excuses were never valid. Rebels don't reject all rules, they write better ones. Instead of follow the crowd, try follow your curiosity. Instead of play it safe, choose play to your strengths. Look closely at society's success formula, the degree, the 9 to 5, the retirement plan. It's not a path, it's a hamster wheel disguised as a staircase. Your new superpower? Detecting herd mentality in action. That viral trend everyone's obsessed with, the must-have product nobody needed last year. Watch how quickly you'll spot the programming. Here's the rebel's secret. Most rules are just old decisions made by dead people. The question isn't why break them, but why are we still following them? The herd will call you selfish for pursuing your purpose. But isn't it more selfish to waste your gifts? The world needs what only you can create. Try this rebellion today. When asked, "What do you do?" don't give your job title. Describe what truly excites you. Watch how it shocks and then liberates the conversation. They warned you. You'll regret not following the crowd. But the real regret? Meeting your future self and explaining why you played small to please strangers. Every revolutionary was first ridiculed. Every breakthrough was impossible. The difference between madness and genius? About 10 years of persistence. Your doubt is the herd's last weapon. When it whispers, "Who do you think you are?" answer boldly. Someone learning to answer that question for myself. Rebellion isn't destruction, it's construction. You're not tearing down systems blindly. You're carefully building something better, brick by brick. The herd survives unpredictability. Your unpredictability terrifies them. That wild idea, that unconventional approach, that's exactly why it might work. Morning reminder, you owe the world your authentic self, not a perfected copy. The flawed, messy, real you is infinitely more valuable than any imitation could be. With every rebellious choice, you're not just freeing yourself, you're adding another crack in the herd's walls, making escape easier for those who come after you. Now the ultimate question remains. Having seen the truth, will you go back to sleep or awaken fully? The herd's final trap? Convincing you freedom is lonely. But here's the truth. Lone wolves eventually find their pack. Others who tore off their masks first. Watch how quickly weird becomes visionary. The same people who mocked you will later claim, "I knew them when." History rewrites rebels as heroes if they persist. Rebels don't just reject systems, they redesign them. Your 9 to 5 isn't the problem. The problem is letting a clock dictate when, how, and why you create. Society's most dangerous myth? You must choose stability or passion. The 1% know the secret. Build systems so your passion funds your stability. Try this today. Replace "I have to" with "I choose to." I have to work. I choose to build. Language shapes reality. Own your agency. A herd fears time's passage. Rebels leverage it. While others dread aging, you'll be too busy compounding skills, wealth, and wisdom to care. Your crazy idea has an expiration date. The longer you wait, the more the herd's voice becomes your inner voice. Strike while your rebellion still feels dangerous. It'll say you've changed. Good. Growth requires shedding versions of yourself that no longer fit. Butterflies don't apologize for outgrowing caterpillars. The ultimate rebellion? Joy. While the herd competes in suffering Olympics, I'm so busy. Your radical act is thriving unapologetically. Legends aren't born, they're cornered. When the herd exiles you, celebrate. Every masterpiece was created in someone's exile phase. Rebel's compass. When torn between choices, ask, which option terrifies the old me? That's your true north. A herd obsesses over originality. Ignore them. Authenticity isn't about being unique, it's about being undiluted. No, call you lucky. Nonsense. Luck is what happens when preparation meets defiance, showing up daily while others wait for permission. Your new mantra, if not me, who? If not now, when? The herd hesitates, you'll already be halfway there. This is the rebel's paradox. The further you wander from the herd, the more you find yourself. And the more you find yourself, the more others find you. The finale awaits. How rebels rewrite history. The final rebellion isn't against society, it's against your former self. That version of you who believed the herd's lies, they're the last opponent standing. Legacy isn't built by following footsteps, but by leaving footprints so bold they create new paths for others to follow. The herd writes resumes, rebels write manifestos. One lists what they were told to do, the other declares what they're destined to change. Your greatest work will emerge when you stop asking, is this practical? And start demanding, is this true to my fire? Try this today. For every hour spent consuming, spend 10 minutes creating. The ratio will shock your soul awake. They'll call your success an overnight phenomenon. You'll know the truth. 20 years of invisible rebellions finally visible. The rebel's retirement plan? Never retiring. When your work is your soul's expression, you'll crave more time, not less. The herd fears death. Rebels fear something worse, arriving at death's door holding an unwrapped gift labeled your potential. Your rebellion's ripple effect. Every person you inspire to awaken creates their own waves. Soon, the tsunami becomes unstoppable. The final test. Can you enjoy your freedom? Many escape the herd, only to recreate its cages in subtler forms. True mastery? When rebellion becomes simply living, no labels needed. You're not going against the grain. You no longer see grains. The ultimate status symbol isn't wealth or fame, it's an unshakable inner peace that terrifies those still chasing external validation. Your final enemy, comfort, the temptation to stop growing. The solution? Fall in love with becoming more than you are. The secret they never told you, the herd needs your rebellion more than it admits. Every system requires heretics to evolve. This isn't goodbye, it's your first day as a living example. Somewhere, someone's future just changed because you chose to stand tall. The end? No, the beginning. The world awaits your next chapter. Now, go write it with your life.